Scattered across the rugged hills of northern central Arizona, ancient citadels rise like silent sentinels of stone-weathered ruins, whose true purpose remains shrouded in mystery. Perched high on windswept ridges, their crumbling walls watch over the desert as they have for centuries, whispering of the people who once climbed these slopes to build them. Were they fortresses, refuge, or sacred places where the Hohokam sought communion with the spirits of the land? No one knows for certain. All that remains are their broken foundations and sense of quiet vigilance that lingers among the rocks, haunting reminders of a civilization that vanished, leaving its secrets etched into the Arizona sky. The citadels of the Hohokam are among the most intriguing and distinctive archaeological features in the foothill region of central Arizona. The term citadel is used by archaeologists and local historians to describe fortress-like masonry structures built on high ridges, knolls, or mesas overlooking valleys and drainages. These elevated positions provided wide visibility and a natural defensive advantage. Today's citadel consists of masonry ruins situated on a hill above a wash, exactly fitting the defensive pattern. From these sites, one can see vast stretches of surrounding desert, ideal for early warning or signaling purposes. These citadels are key to understanding the final centuries of Hohokam occupation. They suggest a shift from open canal-based valley farming villages to more defensible upland settlements, possibly reflecting environmental stress, competition for resources, or regional social instability. Good morning. Thanks for joining me. I'm here in Arizona once again, sort of in the south central area, maybe, best way to generally describe it. And it's a pretty hot area. And it's the first day of October, which sounds like it's getting cooler, but it kind of doesn't feel like it. The sun is blazing hot already. Today I'm going to be attempting to visit two hilltop fortresses, and these would have been built by the Hohokam maybe around 1,000 years ago, maybe 900, maybe 800. No one really knows for sure, but I think there's been some wood that was tested as, I think, being from 1050, so that gives us a pretty good idea when this might have been built. But these two spots are right by each other, and they're part of a series of 4 hilltop fortresses that are all positioned where they can see one another for the top. And it's been theorized that this is sort of a watchtower system that would have looked over communities below these points and warned them of danger, or maybe game coming into the area, or I don't know, whatever. But the idea is that they were all 4 connected visually and could spread the message of any kind of danger pretty quickly. So I'm kind of excited to visit 2 of these. There's 4 of them, and I've visited one already. I hope to visit these 2 today and maybe get myself be able to look from one point to the next, and then see the 3rd one I haven't visited yet, and hopefully I'll be going to that one in the future. But we're kind of in the middle point right now between the 2 fortresses, with one of them being just up there on that point, and the other one being over on this side, way up here somewhere on top of this mountain. So I got a bit of hiking to do today. Anyways, glad you could come with me, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Lots of big cactus on this trail. This is a cholla cactus up here, often called a jumping cholla, because see how these little segments are? They're all individually sort of set up to be broken off if you brush up against it. They'll latch onto you and it feels like they're stuck there. You think they maybe just jumped up and grabbed you. But look what we have inside this one. Looks like an abandoned bird's nest. Not sure if you can see that, but kind of neat to find. You can see a whole bunch of debris down here where they built the nest up from this little fork. So, pretty good spot to keep yourself safe from predators. These nice tall green ones here are ocotillo. You see it very often in the desert, and it's a beautiful plant because it gets these nice little flowers on the end when it blooms, which is a kind of a neat thing to see in the desert. Plus, they get pretty big for plants that don't get much water. The road got pretty steep coming up here, and we're about to where the dirt road ends and turns into a proper trail to get up to the top here. It would be easy to look at the defensive appearance of this ruin atop an isolated butte in the desert, call it a Hohokam fort, and leave it at that. However, for prehistoric Native Americans, this large archaeological site was a place of many uses. Several rooms on gentler terrain immediately below the summit have been reduced to their foundations, but they are quite large and, despite their crumbled condition, remain clearly defined. More structures down below, and they seem to go all the way down to that cactus down there. Just below these rooms is a walled area that could easily be mistaken for an exceptionally large room, but it's actually a plaza. You can see many of the rooms, mostly at lower elevations of the butte's northern slope. In fact, after excavating the ruin in 1975, archaeologists determined the entire site had at least 70 rooms. 9 exist at the summit. All the others, including 6 plazas, are at lower elevations. Decades ago, researchers found a handful of decorated pottery pieces that helped date the ruin to between 800 and 1200 current era. Many metates and manos recovered from the ruin confirmed that the occupants ground corn. They also hunted, as evidenced by the bones of deer, rabbits, and other animals. Additionally, they gathered an array of wild plants. The plants included cholla cactus, which they are believed to have eaten. The occupants used spindle whorls to spin cotton and adorn themselves with beads and pendants made of turquoise and other stones. Archaeologists also found ornaments made from seashells, including a number of bracelets and an item made from abalone that appears to be a lizard pendant. Shells are actually common at Hohokam sites, always mind-boggling when you consider they usually come from the Sea of Cortez 200 miles away. With so much going on at this large site, it is clear that it was used not only for defense, but also for habitation, along with other activities like food processing, storage, and possibly ceremonies. I'm not seeing much evidence of mortar here, which doesn't mean it wasn't here, but it looks to me a lot like dry stacked rocks I've seen at other locations. And it's just a different style that was used, I think, a little bit more by the Hohokam than a lot of the other ones we see in the area that were made maybe by the Sinagua or ancestral Puebloan influence. Certainly the walls at the summit appear defensive, many of which exist in precarious locations, like extensions of huge boulders that naturally deter people from reaching the rugged hilltop. These walls have suffered greatly over the centuries, although in certain spots they still stand higher than 6 feet. You can see multiple rooms down below, and the path coming up here has this pretty well built up section and leads up to the tippy top of this mesa, or a little butte, whatever you call it. And there's not much left here on the very top, but it is a sort of flat space here, and you can see how it might have been a room previously. Down over the edge, I can see some fill right along here, and some more stacked rocks right there, with more over here to the left. You can see where a pretty good wall was, or room was, right here. Looks like there was more structures down below. From what I understand, this site was excavated in 1975, and at the time they took away a lot of artifacts. A lot of pottery, a lot of manos and metates used for grinding corn. And there's not supposed to be a lot left around here, but I seem to have found a little collector's pile here of pottery shards. And I notice over here next to it on the ground is a bunch more. So I guess they didn't get absolutely all of it. What was taken away in 1975, I believe, resides in 3 or 4 different museums around the country. Be kind of nice if I could visit them here in Arizona. This looks like it was probably an exterior wall or some sort of supporting wall, probably an exterior type wall, because it's got rocks here and then rocks over here with a fill in the middle. You can see all those tiny, tiny stones where they made a big thick wall by just loading up the middle with debris. And I've seen that at other places around central Arizona, typical of the Hohokam style. I'm thinking this might be dry stacked stones, as I don't see much evidence of mortar or telltale signs that might indicate that, but I'm not sure. And please keep in mind, I just like walking around ruins and hiking. I don't know, I don't have any training on this stuff. I just read and look stuff up on the internet like anyone does. So if you wonder about anything I'm saying, please do your own research, check it out. Usually you find something pretty fascinating. Well, now that I'm up here, I'm thinking this might have to be a part 2 video. The second location I was going to visit, it's over there on that little mountain, but it's getting awfully hot and I don't want to overdo it today, so this might have to be a part 2 video. So if you've enjoyed this, please stay tuned and look for that part 2 video when it comes out. It's been pretty amazing up here. It's been fascinating to think about the connections. I've been looking over here and trying to find the other hilltop fortress that should be able to be visually connected to this one, and then this one to that one. So I'm going to visit that one at some point, and this one next. So please join me, and thanks for being here today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed being here.